Season is underway, and now for real. Here we go. Fans immediately. Clark coming back to the basketball. Carrington all over her. Clark eyes up. Bounces to Boston. Boston one-on-one with Jones will flip it in. Aaliyah Boston the bucket. Caitlin Clark the assist.
Perfectly placed pass, and the Fever were working on that in their shoot-around, understanding that big hedges were going to come and the bounce pass would be there.
And one of the things Caitlin talked to us about earlier today was immediately feeling that chemistry with last year's Rookie of the Year, Aaliyah Boston. As the rejection comes from Smith, and here comes Clark. Knows she's dangerous in transition. Clark into the paint, hooks it up and off. Deflected to Smith, who flips it in.
Caitlin with a lot of talented pieces around who are suited to play alongside her. Alyssa Smith, a rim runner. Aaliyah Boston, very good in the pick and roll. Kaylee Samuelson, a catch-and-shoot three-point specialist.
Here's Thomas dumping it down. Jones can't finish it. And the rebound tipped out of bounds. Interesting, Wheeler didn't go after it. They have sold out their home opener since 2003.
That was the first game of the history of the franchise.
You remember that one, don't you? Thomas banks it in on the spin.
Picking up where she left off from a year ago.
Had a historically great season for the Sun, who advanced to the semifinals once again. Clark can't hit the runner. Boston on the offensive glass. Can't flip it in. And Jones the rebound. Now Thomas looking to push. A freight train going around Clark. And a whistle on Clark, who it looked like was trying full assists and total rebounds. First player in league history to finish top 3 in rebounds, assists, and steals. Had 8 triple-doubles, more than any other player in league history. In their career, she had them last season. 4-3 Fever in the early going. Clark will fire. In and out on a 3, looked good. Crowd was anticipating it, and Bonner the rebound. Here's Thomas, such a locomotive in the open floor. It last hits her. Good hands by Katie Lou. Out of bounds to Indiana.
You saw in the last possession, Erica Wheeler bringing the ball up. This time it's Caitlin Clark, but...
Oh, great look. Clark to Smith. Can't finish.
But when Erica Wheeler's the one initiating the offense, you saw Clark coming off screening action. She will have the ball in her hands a little bit less this season because of Wheeler's ability to handle the one. Kelsey Mitchell as well.
Gives Christy Sides, head coach of the Fever, some options. Thomas, shot put, won't go. Here comes Clark. Clark yet to score in this first, given some space here. Clark flings it to the corner. Boston working hard against Jones. Here's Boston. 8 to shoot. Out to Smith. Her 3 is good. Alyssa Smith, the number 2 overall pick back in 2022, and has come into this season in outstanding shape.
She was terrific. Averaged over 20 points a game in the 2 preseason games.
Bonner banks it in. Was looking for a whistle. Did not get it, but gets the bucket. You can see Carrington picking up Clark, 94 feet there.
And will try to force her right.
Clark goes right behind the back. Boston travel. And Indiana turns it over.
And that's one of those situations we were talking to Caitlin this morning about her.
As she couldn't catch up to Harris, who buries the 3.
Ty Harris gets the credit for the score, but that was Dejanay Carrington's cut. Took 2 defenders with her, and that's why Ty Harris was open.
Ty Harris looking to build on a really promising 2023 season. Here's Wheeler circling, dishing, and throwing away. Carrington. Back to Bonner. Bonner sending Carrington to the corner. Bonner dips in and banks it home.
Tawana Bonner is just so long and efficient, finishing around the rim, using the glass. She always has size in terms of height and length on her defender.
6th on the all-time scoring list as a foul is called here against
DeWanna Bonner here, just we've seen throughout the course of her career, always good with the step through. That time she stepped at the basket. How about the trap we just saw right in front of us? Katie Lou Samuelson already has 6'4" defending her. And then Olivia Nelson-Ododa, 6'5", was the one who came with the trap. It's hard to pass out of a trap that big.
A 7-0 Connecticut run. Carrington fronting Clark. Smith will fire again. That one too strong. And Bonner the weak side rebound. Christy Wallace into the game off the bench for Indiana. Harris has it popped in the air. Thomas is going to be fouled by Clark. Wow. Fouls on Clark, who's yet to score. 0 for 3 from the floor, has 1 assist. Thomas flings it out. Harris a deep one. Won't go. And the box out from Boston. The rebound from Smith. Clark flings it ahead. Wallace couldn't grab it. And it's out of bounds to Connecticut. Fans who have followed Caitlin through college are here now. In the WNBA, you get 6 personal fouls rather than 5. Clark on the bench right now with 2. Had an assist, did not score. 0 for 3 from the floor as Connecticut turns it over. Alyssa Smith running the floor, pizza pies at home.
This is a situation, Alyssa Smith this season, I know Caitlin Clark's not on the floor right now, but she is going to be a benefactor, running the floor, get-ahead passes. Kelsey Mitchell on the floor, great sign for Indiana.
Harris drills another 3.
Ty Harris led the WNBA in three-point field goal percentage a season ago. This year, getting the starters minutes, still expected to be a force from the outside.
Here's Mitchell, who was doubtful to play in this game, but participated in practice yesterday, bounced back well, and eventually will ascend back into the starting line and is a terrific three-point shooter. Another option, too, for Caitlin to work with and to get off the ball with as well.
Terrific three-point shooter, great catch-and-shoot three-point shooter as well.
Here's Mitchell. Boston being guarded by Nelson-Ododa. Boston gets inside, can't finish. Rebound knocked to the floor and grabbed by Carrington, who is tapped from behind by Alyssa Smith. And a foul. Fever 13-27 a season ago. Connecticut 27-13. Lost to the Liberty in the semifinals before Vegas topped New York for its 2nd straight championship. And a whistle here before the shot. It's going to go
defensive 3 seconds,
yeah,
I think.
Against Indiana, defensive 3 seconds.
It's also something different from the college level.
Right. Rachel Banham hits the free throw. Different look for what Connecticut has to offer as far as their guards go this season.
Yeah, certainly. No Natisha Heidemann this season. She'd become a mainstay for them.
Tiffany Hayes retired, who was so good for them last season. Rebecca Allen, not a guard, but was a key part of their rotation and their playoff run, is out.
Rachel Banham spent 4 years at Connecticut, then 4 in Minnesota. Back here now with the Connecticut Sun. Outstanding three-point shooter, can run the lead guard spot.
So Banham started her career in Connecticut those first 4 seasons. Here's Carrington, hits the bottom of the rim. And Wallace up with it for Indiana. Grace Berger into the game off the bench as well, along with Temi Fagbenle. Fagbenle sets the screen, and it's an illegal one as Indiana gives it right. Caitlin Clark on the bench for the moment, has not yet scored in her debut. 0 for 3 from the floor, picked up 2 fouls. Here's Thomas, directing traffic. 10 to shoot. Harris eyeing the clock. Carrington thought about it. 3 to shoot, enters, and gets denied by Boston. Wallace left alone will fire and hit from 3.
Indiana doing a really nice job this season. Well, 2 preseason games in here, really pushing the pace, looking to advance the basketball. They have the personnel to do that.
Banham Swinging around, here's Harris. Harris, another three is good. That's the third three of the first quarter for Ty Harris.
It's got to be great for her confidence. She did not shoot the ball great in their preseason game, but has come out here on fire here in the first quarter.
Shot at 46% a season ago. Benley, oh, that's far too long, and Indiana turns it over for a fifth time.
Ty Harris, the leading scorer so far in this game. 9 points, all on threes. The contest just a split second too late. Drop it down, we see a tie.
Well, and we saw Ty Harris have some huge games throughout the playoffs last year. Big responsibility, and one of the things that Stephanie White talked to us about was it's also hard to be the starting point guard on this particular veteran team, as that three is airmailed, because there is a lot of verbal instruction from an Alyssa Thomas, from a DeWanna Bonner. That can be hard for a younger point guard to get used to and handle. Backdoor cut, Mitchell gets fouled. Good delivery there from Aaliyah Boston, and Mitchell is going to shoot two. Season averaged nearly 20 points per game and is seventh among all active players in career threes made. Rebecca, I know you've talked about it. You just feel like Mitchell fits so nicely with Clark, and that the pieces, the young talent of this Indiana team, it's not just that they're talented, it's that they're complementary.
100%. Aaliyah Boston pick and roll. Melissa Smith rim running. Kelsey Mitchell, we saw that lightning quick cut, her ability to catch and shoot, create as well. Erica Wheeler pushing pace. She's got a nice mid-range game. A little bit more. Keep in mind, training camp was what? Started 7 or 8 days ago? Not that long.
Maybe a little, 2 weeks,
2
maybe?
weeks, okay.
Yeah,
12
days.
12 days. Less than 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
You know, both of these teams are going to continue to progress. Just Connecticut's got a few more veterans in their front court to kind of lead the charge.
Here's Thomas barreling in and gets fouled. Alyssa Thomas doing the too small. I've been wanting to let you know, well, if you haven't watched Alyssa Thomas and you're watching her shoot free throws and thinking, why does she shoot like that? She plays with 2 torn labrums that she just has never gotten fixed, because obviously her game, well, doesn't need them. She's been so good, and then hasn't wanted to take the year off that it would require. As Thomas comes up with a rebound. Banham a deep three, short. Long board Wallace. 6-point lead for Connecticut. Berger, the former Indiana star.
When do you think the last time Caitlin Clark sat this much in a first quarter?
Or in a game ever.
Yeah.
Wallace gets fouled by Carrington, and Christy Wallace is going to shoot two. And here comes Thomas. Thomas was jawing with the Indiana bench a little bit as she took it up the floor. 5 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists in the first for Thomas. Jones doesn't get the roll. Rebound. Jones gets it back. Can't finish it, but gets the whistle. And Bree Jones. As Jones misses the first, Clark will get Wallace.
Benley, 3 fouls in 3 minutes. That's impressive.
Efficient. Clark 0 of 3 from the floor in her 5 minutes. A couple of fouls, 1 assist. Jones misses both free throws. Benley the rebound. Trying to find Clark, cannot, and won't get a shot off. That'll do it.
Staying disciplined on defense.
On the offensive end, so good at pushing pace in your preseason games. How have you liked the pace so far in this one?
Oh gosh, we can do so much better. We can do so much better. We can get out, we can run. We need to get to the rim. We need to get Caitlin some space so she can.
Physique, quick first step. Really nice job getting into the paint.
Carrington completes the 3-point play. 9-point Connecticut lead. Season debut here in 2024. Here's Smith going behind the back, elevating, forced it up and off. Boston the rebound. Aaliyah Boston looking to go to work. Boston dips inside and lays it home. Nice take from Aaliyah Boston.
Two big, strong centers battling inside with Aaliyah Boston and Brianna Jones.
Carrington off one leg. No. Here's Berger with the rebound. Berger not picked up, goes right to the cup and lays it in. Carrington 1 of 4 from the floor in the early going. Bonner a deep three, short. Carrington there to clean it up. Makes those kind of hustle plays.
Alyssa Thomas not on the floor, not a sight we're used to seeing.
Clark behind the back. Smith attack. She'll go behind the back. Bucket will not count. A blocking foul is called. Okay, now they're going to say no basket, foul prior. So they just went back on that. No basket. Berger to inbound. Still awaiting the first points for Caitlin Clark as it's knocked away by Mitchell. Here's Clark working behind Boston. Clark around the hedge. Tried to sneak it into Boston, wasn't there. Clark turns it over. 6th for Indiana. Carrington in transition, cashes in. And another poor pass from Indiana. They haven't played with pace, but they have. 26-17, Connecticut in front, more than 2 minutes into the second quarter. Carrington has all 7 Connecticut points in this second. Jones trying to work Boston. Jones able to finish. That's big time work done by the former All-Star. Here's Clark around the screen from Boston. Will let it fly. Can't hit. Rebound Smith. She gets fouled by Bonner, and Alyssa Smith will shoot 2 as Clark clapped her hands in frustration. 0 for 4 from the floor now in the early going. 0 for...
Get that offensive board.
One of the things that was really interesting the other night after Indiana's preseason game, Caitlin was asked a question about how she was effective in it. And she had 12 points, 8 assists, 6 rebounds. And she said, well, I didn't think I was effective. And Alyssa Smith jumped in and said, no, here's why she was effective. This is the way she draws attention. This is how it opens things up for me and for Aaliyah and for everybody else on this team. And one thing we've seen thus far, you talk to anyone on the Fever, they have loved the bond and the vibe that this group has, Holly Rowe.
Well, actually, you see Caitlin getting a little frustrated right now with her offense, but they did show Caitlin video after that game that you're speaking of and show her how people defending her and all the attention she's garnering is opening up for her teammates. They have to keep building that confidence in her, and they did it through a video session, and she understands she's getting a lot of attention. That pays off for her teammates.
Thank you, Hall, as Thomas puts it up short, and Alyssa Smith able to flag down the rebound. Here comes Clark. Clark looking to take Carrington and is fouled by Dejanay Carrington. That will be the first on Carrington.
Not a bad foul. Slow her down. Feel like she's getting a head full of steam. It's only your first. Now Caitlin's dangerous.
Backdoor, nice find. Boston to Mitchell for the finish.
Second time we've seen that connection on the backdoor cut.
Aaliyah Boston, the Rookie of the Year a season ago, the #1 pick a season ago. Every other franchise that's had consecutive #1 overall picks has eventually won a championship with those players. Happened in Seattle twice, has happened in Vegas. Shot clock down to 1. Jones flips it in again. Bree Jones looking like her old self coming back from the Achilles. Clark thinking about it. And then tosses it. An offensive foul called on Boston as that ball was sailing into the backcourt. That will be #2 on Aaliyah Boston.
So Leah Boston was posting up. That was left uncalled, which is typical in the WNBA. It's very physical inside with post play.
8 turnovers from Indiana now. They have 4 players with at least 2 fouls. Clark and Boston among them. Harris long 2 is good. Ty Harris is ready for the season. 11 points. Clark working behind Boston. Trying to lob it inside. Knocked away by Thomas. 3rd turnover from Clark. Harris spinning off one leg. Can't get that one. Nelson Adota trying to save it and does. And now Clark comes up with a steal. Clark thought about pulling up from 3. Will dip inside and lay it in. There are the first points in the WNBA career of Caitlin Clark. And on the other end, you get number 3 on Aaliyah Boston.
We know Caitlin Clark loves the logo bomb 3.
Into her vets, asking them to help her get better. Tawana Bonner said, I'm so impressed with her reaching out to us, wanting to be the leader for the team this year, and you see the step forward she's taken tonight. That's been happening all offseason.
If she keeps shooting like this, Tawana and AT should be saying, how do you need the basketball and where do you need it?
Foul called is Stu Dufall thought could have been a travel on Katie Lou Samuelson. Looked like she had an argument, but instead Katie Lou will go to the line to shoot 2.
Katie Lou Samuelson playing in her first game since the birth of her child this past fall.
Oh, there's Aaliyah. Adorable. And it never ceases to amaze me the journey these women go through from giving birth to getting back on the floor to play this professional sport.
Smart man. It should never cease to amaze any man.
Banham can't hit the 3. And it's out of bounds to Indiana. Rebecca, how about just a moment on the way Dejanay has guarded Caitlin so far in this first half?
I think she's done a really nice job, and she's been physical with her off the ball. She's trying to force her to go right. But what's also impressive is anytime there's an on-ball screen or when Connecticut can help and trap, they do that. And the difference between the WNBA and college, when the trap comes, it's 6'4" and long. It's 6'5" and long, which makes it a lot harder to see and deliver over.
And a travel. And fluidity. A la what we saw at Iowa with Caitlin. They obviously have not been able to come near that pace here so far tonight against Connecticut. And all teams struggle with that against Connecticut.
You have to give Connecticut so much credit for that.
They're going to call this off on Indiana, but it looked like it clearly last hit the leg of Connecticut. Fever could challenge if they want to this year. Carrington. This year, if you are correct on a challenge, you do get another. Carrington drains the 3. Dejanay Carrington with 12 points in this first half, and it's a 12-point Connecticut lead. Knocked away, another turnover, the 11th from Indiana. Here's Carrington circling, shoveling, and a travel from Connecticut.
Dejanay Carrington, she's ready to take that next step.
And we have seen steady development throughout her first 3 years. Here's Mitchell shimmying into the paint, gets some body, not the bucket, but will go to the line to shoot 2.
Kurt Miller, who's now the coach out in LA, used to be here in Connecticut. He would describe certain players as having a lot of wiggle to their game.
Yeah.
Kelsey Mitchell has a lot of wiggle. It's fun to watch her just kind of bounce around when she has dribble penetration.
The head coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers described Karis LeVert as having an offbeat wiggle.
An offbeat wiggle?
An offbeat wiggle that makes it tough for defenders to stay in front of him. And I thought, what a genius description. Because it's true about Karis, and it is true about some other players as well, and I've never heard that combination before.
Would you describe Kelsey Mitchell as having an offbeat wiggle or an on-beat wiggle?
It feels like it's in between beats. It's kind of offbeat, it's kind of on-beat, but it's not quite either in totality.
Is jazz more of an offbeat music, or music aficionados? Let us know what
I'm
the
outside
music
my realm
equivalent.
of expertise. Here's Bonner's jumper. She got it. Connecticut doing it all in this first half. Clark wanted it. Wheeler didn't see her. Now Carrington back to Clark. Katie Lou Samuelson now on the drive underneath. Smith will lay it in. Boy, Rebecca, we're also just not used to seeing these long periods of time where Clark just doesn't have the basketball either. Obviously, some of that just credit to Carrington.
Carrington, the entire Connecticut defense, but also she's not always the primary ball handler bringing the ball up the floor.
Bonner, another jumper. Yeah! Dewana Bonner stroking it. Here's Clark. Draws two. Off to Samuelson. Mitchell, wow, big screen from Katie Lou Samuelson. Was stunned there wasn't a foul on Banham, but Mitchell hits the jumper.
Well, she did get run over.
Yeah. Banham a three. She got it. Connecticut on fire here at the end of the second.
Great job, Rachel Banham, recognizing her defender went under.
Now Carrington picks Clark's pocket and lays it in. Dejanay has come to play. Timeout, Indiana. He said, but there's also ways I can learn to use that to my advantage. Clark hits both free throws. 4 points, just 1 assist in this opening half. 4 turnovers for Clark. Here's Bonner, another step back jumper. That one rolls in. Dewana Bonner has had the mid-range flowing in this second. Here's Wheeler. Wheeler draws two. Katie Lou looking for help. Clark comes back to help her. A logo three, short. Clark yet to hit a 3.5 as Wheeler comes up with a steal, is fouled by Banham. And that is going to be a transition take foul.
I don't know why Connecticut's arguing. This is, to me, a clear transition take, right?
Going for the steal with the left hand, but I think that's the right call. Wheeler hits the free throw. Remember, with the transition take foul, anybody can shoot the free throw. That's why Wheeler takes it now. Katie Lou Samuelson will check out. Rachel Banham still contesting that she was going for the steal. Here is Wheeler. Off to Smith. They dump it down. Fagbenle. Fagbenle separates and serves it in. Used her size on Bonner. Bonner at the 4 in this Connecticut lineup, and that's part of the reason why she prefers the 3.
And Indiana was working on that set earlier today, accusing Caitlin Clark as a spacer, knowing her defender could not help off. That's why Fagbenle had the 1v1.
Bonner gets blocked. Wheeler. And Thomas knocks it away. 34 seconds remaining, so a 2-for-1 opportunity here for Indiana. Fagbenle. Here's Clark, a good look from 3. She got it! The first 3 in the career of Caitlin Clark. Indiana executes the 2-for-1. They've cut the deficit down to 9. Thomas spins, gets smushed, and fouled.
Dejanay Carrington does everything she can to get over the screen, but Caitlin...
Because she basically never sits, and she said, you know, there was one game where I was sick, and I felt a little tired for a couple minutes.
That one time?
That one time, playing professional basketball that I felt tired because I had a cold. Otherwise, no. Clark draws two, and Thomas takes it away. 1 second left. Carrington. No. That's how the first half will end. Coming up on the WNBA halftime present.
Get into foul trouble, not make the right decisions. Tonight, discipline. 1 foul in the first half. She's made the right read. She's been disciplined on defense and offense. That is what Stephanie White wanted from her. And Stephanie said, I trust her. She is going to make the right decisions, and she has.
Hey, you know, Dejanay Carrington, accustomed to coming in off of the bench where you can play with bursts of energy. As a starter, you have to have that energy and maintain it and understand that you need to be on the floor in longer stretches. Just the way Connecticut is attacking with the hard hedge and double teaming, and Indiana's struggling mightily to find the open players out of it. But again, attacking with big players makes the vision difficult.
And we know Connecticut, a terrific defensive team, second in the league last year in defensive rating. How does Indiana improve upon the way they are dealing with the hard hedge right now,
They're
Rebecca?
going to need to get a player up, even with the player who's getting trapped, so it's a little bit easier pass out of it, because the pass inside to the post player is simply too difficult to complete right now.
Bonner a three, off the mark. Smith the rebound. Here comes Clark. Hit a three. Couple free throws late in the second after a quiet start to the game. Clark waits. Needs some help now. No one coming back to the basketball. Finally, Wheeler does. Here's Wheeler, and a foul on Harris will keep things here with Indiana. Number 3 on Harris. Aaliyah Boston has 3. Melissa Smith has 3. Clark has 2. She picked them up early. Here's Clark. Into the corner. 7 to shoot. Wheeler going baseline to the reverse corner. Smith wouldn't take it. Drives it and leaves it short.
I thought she had the one more pass to Katie Samuelson on the left wing.
Here's Bonner. The hesitation. Layup won't go. And it's out of bounds off of Clark. Stays with Connecticut. Knocked out of bounds again as Clark denies Carrington. Clark in this game, 2 of 7 from the floor, 1 of 4 from 3. 5 turnovers in that first half. No rebounds yet for Clark, although Indiana is winning the battle on the glass as Bonner gets fouled by Katie Lou Samuelson. And one of the things Christy Side spoke to us about when we had her live at the start of the second quarter was feeling like her team just needed to stop fouling. They have Connecticut 8 of 12 from the line as Bonner, who's closing in on 5th on the all-time scoring list, hits the first. They keep up with live WNBA action during the tip-off test drive powered by CarMax. Now through May 21st, enjoy a free League Pass preview and stream select games in the WNBA with no subscription required. Scan the QR code to download now and catch these must-see matchups live. Here's Wheeler working with Boston. Boston with Carrington once again fronting Clark. Boston gets smothered and denied by Jones. Here comes Carrington, stripped by Clark, and Indiana comes up with a steal. Here is Clark. Clark looking to shake Carrington. Meets the hedge again.
And that time, Katie Lou Samuelson rose so that there was an out pass.
Here it is again, same thing, but Jones comes up with a steal. Carrington swims in, can't finish. Boston the rebound. Now Clark, a little more space. Clark bounces into Smith. Smith, what defense from Thomas. Great pass from Smith. Wheeler a 3 is good. Time out Connecticut. Erica Wheeler pass out of that, and then the one more results in the Wheeler 3. Early third quarter action, 9-point Sun lead. The debut of Caitlin Clark. She has struggled so far tonight. Carrington gets free. DeJounte Carrington with 16 points. He's played terrific defense as well. Here's Clark off a screen, gets a look, and hits. Second three of the game for Clark, who is now in double figures. And that's going to be an offensive foul on Dawana Bonner. Difficult parts of guarding someone is the mental part of it. Not thinking you're doing something wrong when they make a tough shot. Sticking with your game plan. Here's Wheeler racing inside, lays it in. Indiana has cut the deficit to 6. Here's Ty Harris, had a big first half. Thomas shovels, Bonner finishes. Dawana Bonner now tied for 5th place on the all-time scoring list.
And lost a shoe. The shoe just sitting there on the other end of the floor. It's gone now.
Clark guarded by Harris, tried to get a whistle, did not. And instead, it's out of bounds to Connecticut. Run.
It certainly does. Let's write that book.
Dawana Bonner tying Candace Dupree for 5th place on the WNBA all-time scoring list. Next point will pass her.
I don't know this for certain.
Up ahead of Dupree and Bonner on the scoring list. Here's Banham, her 3 off. Nalissa Smith claws the rebound, her 7th. Here's Clark, and she traveled.
She did.
That is going to be the 8th turnover of the night for Caitlin Clark. Her father, Brent, her mother, Ann,
He's
here watching. Clark has shot it better after starting 0 for 4. She's 3 for her last 4, but has turned it over, obviously, quite a bit here with the 8 turnovers. Here's Banham, and a foul before that will be on Clark, her 3rd.
Turnovers were an issue for Clark in the preseason. As good as she was at times scoring and assisting, she had 11 turnovers in those 2 games. And I think that's going to continue to be an area for her improvement because of all the attention.
That initial right hand around Thomas. Here's Bonner whipping it out. Carrington hooking it in. Boston knocks it away. Clark comes up with it. Here is Clark. Indiana down 8. Clark draws the hedge, backs away from it, gets fouled by Carrington. And that'll be number 2 on DeJounte. Answered the bell in a huge way here in game 1.
Both have been terrific.
Boston fakes the handoff. Now gives it to Clark around the hedge. Clark will pull around and off, and Thomas the rebound. Here's Thomas, a lot of space, finding Bonner now in 5th place by herself. 6,897 career points for Dawana Bonner.
And the 9th assist for Alyssa Thomas.
Nalissa Smith loses it. Thomas all alone to the rim. Timeout, Indiana. Just as the fever had started to creep back in.
I mean, last year she had an incredible season. She just keeps getting better. Age has not caught up to her. Mother Time has not caught up.
Mitchell gets fouled as Banham could not catch up with Mitchell. And
can we go with Mother Time?
Yeah, why not?
Although it's kind of a negative thing, so maybe we'll keep it Father Time.
3rd foul on Banham. All right, Rebecca, let's just do an overall assessment here of Clark. Obviously, we know so many people here tonight to watch Caitlin after her historic run, her professional debut. Started to find the shot a little bit, up to 10 points, but 7 turnovers. They took away 1. What are you seeing that you think about and forecast ahead as either being issues or things that'll easily get cleaned up?
Well, again, we talked about how Connecticut is such a good defensive team, whether it's their on-ball defense, but it's really been the traps that have given her trouble at times. So teams will certainly continue to do that, especially if they have long defenders to send at her. Nice pass, get-ahead pass there.
And Mitchell to the corner. Katie Lou connects on a 3.
But I think Caitlin's teammates also when she gets rid of the basketball, have to find their timing at getting it back into her hands, because she does draw so much attention, figuring out ways that she can get others open.
Banham with an answer. Some good moments from Rachel Banham in this game. Clark had it stripped. Last hit her foot. 8th turnover from Caitlin. The outside world is not going to show me any grace if I struggle, but I will, fully expecting there to be an onboarding learning curve against these pros. 62-51, Connecticut in front, and a travel as Thomas turns it over. Alyssa turned it over 18 times tonight. Clark looking to evade Carrington, and a whistle on Nelson Adota, who was jockeying with Boston.
And Ryan, things aren't going to get much easier for the Indiana Fever either. They have a really tough stretch to start this season in terms of their first 5 games of the year here. Start on the road at Connecticut. What do they have coming up? Oh, just hosting New York, then at New York, then play Connecticut again. You know, 2 teams that were competing in the semifinals and finals a year ago, and then going to Seattle to play a team that's added some star power, so tough road to start.
Dejanay Carrington taking a minute to get into the front court, was holding her right leg. Thomas, that's going to be an offensive foul on Alyssa Thomas. That will be her first personal, as Carrington will check out, limping a little bit as she does. And does Carrington checking out provide an opportunity? Alyssa Smith working Thomas, so physical. Smith can't hit the jumper. Nice poke away, but it still lands with Connecticut. Here is Thomas. Thomas lobbing it inside. Nelson Adota gets denied by Boston. Fights back to it. Another chance here for Connecticut. Mitchell with 1 to shoot. Can't reverse it in. Loose ball ends up in the arms of Indiana. Great look. Smith able to finish off the dime from Caitlin Clark. Just the 2nd assist for Clark.
I really like her connection, though, with Alyssa Smith. I think that's going to be a fierce one as the season goes on.
13 points for Smith. Here's Harris wrapping around. Banham a 3. Won't go. Rebound Smith. Her 9th of the game. Back to Clark with some space. Into the corner. Katie Lou can't hit the 3. Would have been a big one for Indiana. Could have cut it to 6. Instead, it's Thomas up with it. And a foul here against Indiana. Let's take a look at what happened to Dejanay Carrington, Rebecca.
I do think it is a cramp, but I'll double check during the break.
Well, if anyone has played worthy of cramping tonight with their energy expended, it is Dejanay Carrington, who's been all over the floor and all over Clark. Here's Thomas, push shot, banks off, good box out there.
I like that as a definer, a cramp-worthy performance.
Benley lays it in. Now, Indiana a couple times in this quarter has cut it to 7, cut it to 6. They haven't been able to get over that hump. Connecticut has consistently had the answer. Harris, a deep jumper, and that's going to be an offensive foul.
Nelson Adota did not need to roll. The defender was already...
Here's Clark using the screen from Boston. Hits her with the pocket pass. Boston dips inside, can't finish. And a whistle going the other way. Fag on number 10. There's no number 10 on the floor for Indiana. So they change it to 14 on Fag Benley. And that is going to be her 4th personal. I believe this is going to be shots for Connecticut as well. Yeah, they're in the bonus. So free throws here. That's a loose ball foul. So it's free throws here for Connecticut. Again, missed opportunity there for Indiana to creep a little closer. Connecticut comes up with a stop now. Let's take a look at the upcoming WNBA national TV schedule. Thursday on Prime, it's the Liberty at Indiana, the home debut for Caitlin Clark. Friday on Ion, a doubleheader, Washington and Connecticut. Minnesota hosts Seattle, and then Saturday on ABC, what a doubleheader. Indiana in New York at rocking Barclays Center, and LA in Vegas to face the defending champs. For more on these games, please go to WNBA.com or visit the WNBA app.
So happy the WNBA season is back.
It's awesome. 4-second difference, game and shot clock. Clark hops away, attacks. Clark gets the foul and will shoot two.
Really nice set. Elbow entry. The post player sets the script.
And for those of you wondering, well, what was Clark's career high in turnovers in a collegiate game? It was 12. She's currently at 8 here tonight. The scoring and the efficiency for that has picked up as the game has gone along. But Connecticut, led by Carrington, has done a wonderful job on Clark thus far this evening. 12 points now for Clark. Shot clock turned off. Three to shoot. Harris, step back jumper, you bet. Ty Harris beats the buzzer, and that's out.
Out of the paint for the most part. What do you need to see from everyone, especially defensively here in the fourth?
We got to flood our weak side. Our weak side defense hasn't been good enough. We got to be better on the weak side, have each other's back.
All right, Coach, we appreciate it. Good luck the rest of the way. Well, Carrington just went back to the locker room. Appeared to be a cramp of sorts in the lower leg. Heads back to the locker room as Jones finds Thomas for the tough finish. That big-to-big connection.
Double team came, and Brianna Jones still able to pass out of it.
10-point Connecticut lead. Clark on the bench to begin the fourth with 12 points, 2 assists, and 8 turnovers in her WNBA debut. Here's Smith off one leg, no rebound. Thomas pedals ahead, loses it, settles. Harris, patient. 8 to shoot. Thomas can't hit, follows it up right around Smith. That's an easy offensive rebound. Thomas gliding her way to the backcourt.
Melissa Smith simply did not box out after the contest.
Melissa Smith misses the three. Bonner the rebound. Melissa Thomas, meanwhile, 13 points, 10 assists, 8 rebounds, closing in on another triple-double. Harris behind Thomas. Harris forced it up. Can't get it to drop. Benley, the rebound. Off to Wheeler. Wheeler zips into the paint and lays it in. Thomas bounces, Jones gets fouled, and Berger called for the personal. Free throws for Bree Jones.
Alyssa Thomas does not take them.
Knowing Alyssa, she'll want all of them.
Yeah. Well, the rebound numbers help her get closer to her triple-double. So
she has 8 career regular season triple-doubles, 3 in the playoffs. Most in league history. And she is closing in on another. Again, a 12-point lead for Connecticut. This is just volleyed from 6 or 7 to 12. Without Indiana able to get over the hump, without Connecticut completely running away. Boston traveled again. Aaliyah Boston has had a really tough time tonight on the interior against this
basket.
And 20 turnovers now for Indiana as a team. We see Clark, who has 8 of them, getting ready to check back in. Thomas lobs it up. Bonner gets fouled. Beautiful dish. from Alyssa Thomas. And
veteran presence here. These players have played with one another. We've seen it all game. Anytime there's a lane to cut through, they cut there, and their teammates find them.
Holly?
Well, Ryan, since it amazes you so much, I'm going to go back to the motherhood story because DeWanna Bonner is a miracle of physical magic. She has given birth to twins. As you heard at the end of our interview, she said hello to Callie and Demi. Those are her two little girls that are at home. She said it's been one of the hardest things of her life to have twins. She was on bed rest for the last month of her pregnancy in the hospital, but here she is back out on the court, being an all-star, being at the highest level, 5th all-time scoring, and mother of 2.
It is incredible, Holly, and DeWanna, all these years in the league, still getting it done at such a high level. Clark draws 2, finds Wallace. Here's Clark, thought about the 3, guarded here by Thomas. Maybe the best individual defender in the league. Clark gives it up to Boston, 2 to shoot. Boston, and another Indiana turnover. That is 21. Look at the MVP a season ago, who did things we had never seen in this league's history. Helped guide Connecticut to the semifinals where they've been each of the last 5 years. And Bonner trying to help Connecticut separate. Last year, Bonner had 16 games with at least 20 points. Starts this one with 20. That was the second most in league history by a player in their 14th season or later. Only Diana Taurasi, who had 20 back in 2018, with more. Clark got some space. Probing, drags out Nelson Adota. Clark will fire and hit the 3. Caitlin Clark with her 3rd 3 of the night as her parents celebrate.
Alyssa Thomas was the primary defender until the switch, and then 6'5" Nelson Adota ended up on the perimeter on Clark.
Here's Ty Harris, can't answer. Rebound Fagbenle, here is Clark, guarded by Banham. Trying to shake around her. Clark thought about pulling, again it's Nelson Adota. Clark drags her out, finds Mitchell. Mitchell sneaks inside, can't finish it. And Thomas the rebound, her 9th. Harris a 3, she got it! 4th 3 of the night for Ty Harris. Two to shoot. Mitchell in trouble, and a foul on Bonner, who knew it. A reminder coming up next, Diana Taurasi and Phoenix will take Thursday's matchup against the Liberty in Indiana. Rebecca went through for you the gauntlet that the Fever start this season with. Clark around the screen from Boston. To the corner, Berger. Just no space. Connecticut everywhere. Here's Clark with Banham guarding her. Clark gets bumped, will take, and hit from 3. Clark up to 18 points, her 4th 3 of the night. After a slow start with her shot, we have seen that come along. 5 of 7 after she started 0 for 4. Mariah Jefferson into the game and knocking it down.
The second time, a Dejanay Carrington hard cut to the basket has taken 2 defenders and gotten her teammate an open 3.
Clark gives it up, gets it back, dribbles between 2, bodies in and gets fouled. Caitlin Clark with a little more zest in her attack in this 4th quarter. Yes. Let's take a listen into sounds of the game from Caitlin Clark. Well, Caitlin now with 20 points in her debut, has the last 8 for Indiana, but Connecticut maintains a 14-point edge. Jefferson can't hang on. Mitchell the steal. Foul called against Connecticut.
Connecticut's done a couple of really good things on the defensive end. Number one, they have limited Indiana for the most part in transition. They picked Caitlin Clark up and early to limit transition opportunities. They've done a great job trapping. They forced turnovers, and there was nearly another one.
Here's Clark, will fire, can't hit. Rebound, Alyssa Thomas, and she has her triple-double. Hear the crowd reacting as Connecticut takes a timeout, including the playoffs, the 12th
WNBA.
Well, last year when she didn't win MVP and had the season she had, she said, look, I had a season nobody's ever had before and will probably never see again unless I do it. Very well aware of what a unique talent she is and how unique her production is in this league. The other thing is, while she hasn't won a championship here, she has done a whole lot of winning. This is a team that perennially is in at least the semifinals. They've made 2 trips to the finals with Thomas as their best player. Coming up, Asia Wilson, the reigning finals MVP, the 2-time champion, the 2-time league MVP. Getting ready to go. It's ring ceremony night in Vegas. Diana Taurasi and new look Phoenix getting ready to take on the Aces. Here's Clark storming in. Can't bank it home. Doesn't get the whistle. Final 3 minutes of this contest. Jones traveled. 15th turnover from Connecticut. 22 tonight from Indiana.
Indiana shooting.
Yes, especially against Connecticut.
Yeah, just turning the ball over so much.
Clark has 9 of those turnovers. Her first pro game. Berger putting it on the deck, surrounded, and guess what? Another turnover from Indiana, their 23rd. (83-67), Connecticut in front. 2:30 to go in the 4th. Banham crossover, connects! There's your exclamation point from Rachel Banham. Wallace hits the jumper. On the assist from Clark, her 3rd. Clark, the leading scorer for Indiana with 20. We haven't seen Alyssa Smith in a while. She was effective early, not so much late. Great look initially from Clark, but Thomas gets to it. 10th turnover from Clark. Carrington wanted a whistle, didn't get it. Here's Clark, wide open, deep 3, missed it. She knew it and was pointing left as she took it.
We'll be thinking a lot about these next couple of days before she gets her home opener on Thursday against New York.
Then she'll be back on our air on ABC on Saturday as part of a doubleheader. And then on Monday night at home. Here's Mitchell twisting away, left it short. Mitchell gets fouled. And free throws here for Tiffany Mitchell. A reminder coming up next, it's Phoenix and Vegas. The Mercury taking on the defending champion Aces.
Really eager to see how Vegas is going to look for Chelsea Gray for how long she is out with her lower leg injury. Best point guard in the league a season ago, without question. Chelsea Gray, 15 points a game, 7 assists a game, just a hair under having a 50-40-90 season in terms of efficiency.
And that was on the heels of maybe the single greatest postseason run we've ever seen from a player in 2022 from Gray en route to Vegas's first championship. Berger put up the long 2, can't hit it. Rebound Carrington. Final minute of this fourth. Bonner and Alyssa Thomas have gone to the bench. Clark remains on the floor for Indiana. Here's Nelson Adota. 8 to shoot. Mitchell knocks down the jumper. Impressive performance from Connecticut tonight. Great production from their stars and outstanding production from the others for Connecticut, which is so key if they want to reach their lofty expectations this year.
Yes, Connecticut has to be thrilled with the way they set the tone on the defensive end and with the way a number of their players have scored efficiently here in the opening game.
Carrington, 3 to shoot. Will drive it in. Can't hit the layup. Nelson Adota does. 13 seconds to go. Berger on the drive. Lays it in. It's all cosmetic at this point. The Connecticut Sun spoil the debut of Caitlin Clark. 92-71 the final.